coming in from down south, some disturbing news coming in from Tamil Nadu, where there have been several instances coming to light of how the families of the COVID-19 patients, they've been attacked at this point. And these are, of course, the patients who have died because of COVID-19. This is an instance that is coming to light where a mob of nearly 50 people attacked an ambulance with sticks and stones. The family had in fact gone to perform the last rites of the victim, where they were surrounded by the mobs and they started attacking the ambulance. After which the 55-year-old deceased doctor, who was taken to the cemetery for burial, even the police at that point could not contain the situation. And the police requested the family to go to some other burial ground to perform the last rites. There have been multiple instances of this kind that have now come in from the state of Tamil Nadu. Meanwhile, we're also getting further updates, and the colleague of the 62-year-old doctor recounting the entire horror of how they were attacked by the mob with sticks and stones. Dr. Bhagiraj claims that the mob was quite unruly and they brutally attacked them, forcing them to leave the body and even run for their lives.
மருத்துவமனையில் இருக்கிற மருத்துவர்களுக்கு இந்த நோயினால் இறந்து போனால் இதான் நிலைமையா? மக்கள் கொடுக்குற பரிசு இதுவா? எப்படி மருத்துவர்களுக்கு பாதுகாப்பு இருக்கும்? இந்த வீடியோவை நான் வெளியிடுறதுக்காக வெட்கப்படுறேன், தலை குனிகிறேன். ஏன்னா இன்றைக்கி நாங்கள் இவ்வளவு பாதிக்கப்பட்டு அவரை மருத்துவமனையில் வச்சு காப்பாற்ற முடியாமல் கடைசியில் அவரை பரியல் கூட பண்ண முடியாத ஒரு நிலைமைக்கு தள்ளப்பட்டவன். அவருடைய ஆத்மா எப்படி சாந்தி அடையும்னு நாங்கள் நினைக்கிறோம். எதுக்கு இந்த மருத்துவ பணிக்கு வந்தவங்கிறது வெட்கப்படுறோம் நாங்கள். வேறு வழி இல்லை. சாரி ஃபார் மை வேர்ட்ஸ். ஆனால் எவ்வளோ ஒரு வேதனையை மக்கள் புரிஞ்சிக்காம, அதனால் எந்த பாதிப்பு இல்லைன்னுங்கிறத தெரிஞ்சுக்காம எங்களையெல்லாம் கல்லை கொண்டு அடித்து விரட்டி பாடியை அப்படியே போட்டுட்டு வரக்கூடிய சூழ்நிலை ஏற்பட்டுச்சு. இந்த எந்த ஒரு மனிதனுக்கும் இந்த நிலைமை வரக்கூடாது. அரசாங்கம் இன்னும் அதிகமாக இதில் கவனம் செலுத்தணும்.
In fact, let's tell you about this instance that had come to light just last week. Another deceased doctor's family faced a similar backlash and they were attacked by a mob. The mob had in fact gathered at the cemetery and stopped the doctor's last rites to be performed by the family. What is even more appalling is that the 62-year-old doctor had reportedly died due to dengue, and the doctor's body was cremated at a different location. Let me go across to my colleague Pramod, who is joining me live with further updates on this. Pramod, this is extremely shocking and quite disturbing to see the rise in the number of instances where people have been attacked because they were going to conduct the last rites. Tell us about these instances that have been reported, and what is the kind of step that the state government is taking at this point?
Well, unfortunately, the state government has woken up to the situation in a very late hour. After the attack on this, the families and doctor, only the state government is taking it very seriously, even though we've been reporting on it, constantly claiming about the situation and how the state government have to handle this, a very big issue. In fact, just like you mentioned, the first issue of such kind occurred on 13th of April when a body of a doctor who passed away, he was from Nellore, was taken to Ambattur Cemetery, and where a large group of people gathered outside and started protesting, post which it became a kind of a regular tone actually, because the same kind of issue occurred last Wednesday also, just like you mentioned. A 30-year-old well-known doctor who's got a very good name for helping tribal people in Nilgiris. He passed away apparently because of dengue, not COVID-19. And when he was taken to the cemetery, the people in that area started protesting. The Tamil Nadu government needed almost 4 instances for them to react. Right now, the health secretary and the health minister come forward and said that stern action will be taken against those who behave in such manner.
Okay.
Even now, if the state government, at least now they have to start about sensitizing the people, informing them. For instance, we spoke to the health officials, and they claimed that the body is buried almost 9 feet below the ground. And once the body is properly prepared and covered, there are zero chances for any kind of spread, because according to WHO guidelines, it's being done and there is no leakage of anything. And these are the information the public is supposed to know. Unfortunately, since they don't know, such issues are occurring.
All right, Pramod, request you to stay with us at this point, because the Madras High Court has also now issued notices to the Tamil Nadu Chief Secretary, the Health Secretary and the DGP and other senior officials of the state over this entire issue. The Madras High Court, while observing that this is a fundamental right of life that is guaranteed under the Constitution, It also includes the right for decent burial or cremation. The Madras High Court further observing and also warning the local residents against indulging in any such criminal activity at this point. Now, the High Court took up suo motu cognizance of a public interest litigation on Monday, while saying that the State Health Secretary also tweeted about this, saying that those indulging in such inhumane acts should be punished strictly. Going back to my colleague Pramod for further updates on this. Pramod, the Madras High Court has also now taken cognizance of this matter while warning all those who are indulging in this criminal act. Tell us what is the kind of observation made by the court and directions given to the officials at this point.
First and foremost, the court has made it very clear that they cannot rob the dignity of a person during the person's burial. And here we are talking about doctors who've been serving and helping people, putting their life at risk. So this is the foremost information that has been put forward by the Madras High Court, where it also had, just like you mentioned, has served notices to various officials, asking them for, seeking a reply from them, what kind of measures have been taken. In fact, only yesterday, after the two, in this doctor's burial, two of the ambulance, one of the drivers and the helper were very badly injured in their head. They had to go to the hospital and they had to be treated as well. So right now, after that, Chennai police have arrested 20 people under various charges, including inciting of riot as well. So these replies will be provided by the Tamil Nadu government, and we're very pretty sure that the Madras High Court would go forward and it also instruct the Tamil Nadu government to sensitize the people about the situation, because as of now, the state is only trying to provide information about people to stay inside, and unfortunately, they have missed out on the very important part, which has blown up very big now.
All right, Pramod, many thanks for joining us and bringing us all those updates. Let me also bring in Dr. Om Srivastava of the Jaslok Hospital, who is joining us on this broadcast. Dr. Srivastava, many thanks for speaking to us. And this is a very disturbing instances that we're reporting at this point. Number of instances that have come to light of how the patients are receiving a backlash. The family of the patients who have died, they've received a backlash and they've even been stopped from going ahead and performing the last rites. If you can help us understand, what is the correct procedure that one has to follow when it comes to performing the last rites and going ahead to the crematorium at this point?
So, Tanvi, basically, it's a situation where you are, for all practical purposes, you're still dealing with somebody who was infected with a virus, which is called the BSL, or the Biosafety Level 3. As far as the last rites go, for the safety, for the overall abundant safety of the entire community, these bodies will have to be cremated with what is traditionally done, at least in a city like Mumbai, in the electric crematorium. That will be the quickest and the cleanest and the most practical solution towards going through the last rites. Other than that, those places where such facilities are not available, they would have to look at what can be done so that nobody else who is dealing with the last rites of such a person or the area where this is going to be done is not put at risk. Besides that, the other things that you were discussing, I'm not sure. I mean, public health authorities would be the most appropriate person to comment on that. But insofar as safety is concerned, this is how it ought to be done. In areas where there are these facilities available, they should be done in this way. Where these facilities are not available, the most scientifically correct and most appropriate and the most humane part of how this can be done should be approached.
Dr. Srivastava would also like to understand from you, when a person who has died of coronavirus and the body is handed over to their relatives, what are the measures, the standard operating procedure that the family needs to follow at this point? Because there are a lot of myths doing the rounds and we can see the kind of attacks that are taking place on the family. So according to you, what would you say are the measures that the family must be taking into consideration at this point as well?
I think in a situation like this, it is probably the best that the family needs to inform not just the local municipal authorities, but also the local police and the local ward to ensure that this kind of thing is carried forward, only because this is not the time for a family to go through the kind of mental trauma that, we are hearing about, where they are being stopped or they are being assaulted. They need to be taking the local local authorities, the local law authorities into confidence, seeking their involvement and getting through this process as soon as possible, so that so the hospital or the place where the patient has succumbed will be preparing the body in such a way that it can go, from one point to another into the place where it is going to be cremated. But the rest of the story, so that it is done in a seamless manner, they probably need to be involving the local authorities and telling them that they are, sometimes it is necessary to probably ask for the police protection. I know of families in Mumbai who have done that to the local police station, sought their involvement, and had a couple of people who have been like a police escort to take them and finish the rites. That is necessary only because there is, as you're rightly saying, there is a lot of miscommunication, misgivings that are going on, and that the family that is dealing with this kind of situation does not need that at this point in time. So, hospital authorities, either the hospital authorities inform the police themselves, or that the family informs the police and the local councillor or the lawmaker, whoever it is, to be involved so that this is done as seamlessly as possible. Tanvi.
All right. Dr. Srivastava, many thanks for speaking to us and helping us understand. We have seen several instances coming to light where at this point the families of the patient, they have been attacked multiple times, and these instances have come in from the state of Tamil Nadu.